Welcome to the Science of Fitness podcast, where we aim to inspire you to live a more healthy and fulfilling life as we share evidence and anecdotes on all things relating to health, performance, business, and wellness. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Science of Fitness podcast, and we are here with one of my very first guests, Tom Harvey, back for his second round on the Soft podcast. Tommy, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me again.
So, owner and sort of co-owner, co-founder of TH7 Labs, and mate, it's been 18 months since we've had you on the podcast, so that time has flown by, and you guys have been moving hard and fast and really sinking your teeth into, I guess, the recovery space and the recovery market. So if you were to summarise it really briefly, how's it been?
Oh, mate, yeah, it's been busy. I think since last time we had a chat, we've since opened 4 new clinics, which has been great. And I've actually had a little baby daughter as well. So
just to fit that in there.
Yeah, just squeezed
that'll
in.
really help your recovery.
Exactly, yeah. Real good for the sleep scores.
Yeah, righto. So before we get into the work stuff, which I'm very excited to do, little segment I've added to the guest series that we run on here. 3 questions about Tom, and I guess to help the listeners and people that follow you get to know a little bit more about you, mate. So I didn't prep you for this, so I'll have you guys listening know that. I'm throwing him right in the deep end here. But first question, if you could change one thing in the world, as you see it and as it stands today, what would that be?
It's a very good question. I think I would remove all waiting out of the world. So in terms of like, have you seen the movie Jumper?
Yes.
Yeah, I would love to just have that ability to, just click my fingers and be somewhere else in the world, or just remove that whole waiting aspect.
Just dead time.
Just dead time, yeah, essentially. So yeah, it's probably not as nice as world peace or something like that, but
it probably represents where you are at the moment in this stage of your life, mate. 6-month-old, work, married, all the work. So lots been happening.
Yeah.
Righto, next question. So what's one lesson, and I think this applies, what's one lesson that you've learned in the last 12 months, be it through positive or negative experiences?
Similar to, before, but I think I've learnt more patience with work, but also with everything going on at home as well. Like I'm a person that really just wants to get things done and wants it done as quick as possible. But I've sort of learnt to, pull back a little bit and go, just, be a little bit more patient. So
make sure it's done right.
Make sure it's done right the first time, not just get it done as quick as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. And then last one, with, 18 months having gone by, you guys have been cranking it now for the last 3 years, plus probably. What's what number one thing you love about it?
I think the people, the team that we have, and also the people coming through the door. Like everyone has a different story, and also it's just learning more about the staff and the team that we build. Working with them every day has been a pleasure, and learning more about them and their families and everything else, and then also seeing some of the impacts that we have on other people's lives. Everyone's working together to give people the best service and product that we can, and it does. There's little stories that come through every week or so that it does impact someone's life massively, and you get caught up with all the cool professional athletes coming in and stuff like that, but it's the little 1 or 2 things that someone's, got cancer, or we've helped them sleep better at night, or reduce their pain in using the ice baths or the red light or hyperbaric or whatever it is. And those little stories has a massive impact on us. So yeah, that's probably it.
It's funny, the little anecdotal things do go a long way, and it's they drip upon your whatever day, week, whatever it might be, and just those little moments, it's like, yes, okay, carry on,
it's all worthwhile.
Keep going.
100%.
Right, yeah. So it's been 18 months since our first chat. What's changed most for you, professionally, and for TH7 as a business? Obviously, you've, speak about the baby and a 6-month-old now, but I guess for you personally and within a professional realm, what's changed?
Yeah. So as a business, when we first sort of spoke last time, we had a few sort of irons in the fire with new sites and all that sort of stuff. And I think we've been a lot more selective now with where we go and where we want to expand to. We've learned a lot of lessons with opening sites relatively closer to each other than our first one here in West End and our second one in Noosa. So we've learned a lot there with demographics and drive times and all that sort of stuff. So we're getting better at that. And I've taken more of a role in the marketing sort of side of things. Something that I want to try and teach as many people is more about the science and about why they should be doing things. And, we've shifted a lot between going from a casual based business we offer protocols and the science of that, but now transitioning more into a membership based business as well. So trying to become part of people's life, not just a nice thing to do on the weekends. So
let's stay on the marketing thing for a second, because I want to say it's almost something I struggle with, and I'm sure it's probably the same for you. Not in the context of don't believe in it or whatever else. Like, we understand its importance from a business perspective.
Yep.
But I guess facilitating the time and, the longitudinal value of it and understanding that. How's that shifted for you?
Yeah, so when I first sort of dug into it, it was more about the Facebook ads, the Google ads, and diving in and seeing that, and then looking at all the data on the back end of it, which I actually quite enjoyed because it is essentially how the business makes money. It's you got to put it out there, and you got to spend a little bit on Facebook and Google to get a decent return. So, but then the biggest sort of driver for us, which you can't measure, is word of mouth, and it's someone coming in and having a good experience, and then going home and telling their brother or their partner or their sister or their mum or dad or whatever about it. And then they bring someone in. So that's the intangibles that we can't measure. But it was all the stuff that we could, that was what I was trying to knuckle down into and go, why is this working? Why is this not? So,
yeah. So from a marketing perspective, what do you wish people knew about TH7? And I guess what it can do for them?
Yeah.
It's a big question.
It's a big question.
Big question. And it's so hard to answer that in a nutshell, right?
Yeah. And I think, the one thing that I could say is it can make them feel better.
Full stop. I think that's really powerful.
Yeah. And so we've sort of, changed our website and all that sort of stuff. And it based off feedback of everyone that's come in, everyone walks out feeling better than when they walked in. So that's probably the number one thing that we can do. There is the science, and there is the long-term benefits of doing more saunas and ice baths and red light and hyperbaric and all that sort of stuff. But the number one thing is just, if you walk in, you feel pretty deflated. Every time I do it, do a session, a bad night's sleep, or, big training session, I do a sauna and an ice bath, and I walk out feeling better. And that's just what we're trying to package up into nice videos and nice ads and Google searches and stuff like that to be able to teach it to everyone.
And have people understand that. Yeah, because, there's a degree of users that'll probably be listening to this.
Yep.
And they go, oh, I can't wait. I want to hear more about these protocols, what they mean, how they work, all the science and the mechanisms. But from the percentage of your consumers, probably wouldn't be maybe more than 30%.
Yep.
Which is really interesting because, we go through the same problem all the time. Like, you get told, okay, well, who's your target market? If I would ask you that question, what are you going to say?
Yeah, it's like we'd try and be something for everyone.
Exactly.
We do have a particular sort of, there's the recovery market, which is the person that is, a high performer at in the gym or at work, and that's the majority of it. But then there's also the other sort of market that is the longevity, and people that want to live a better quality of life for longer, and they might be 60 to 75 years old and coming in to feel better in their life as well. So
exactly. So, and then and I think that's sort of the conundrum, which is the sort of place of preventative health in general now is, who's the doctor's target market? Well, anyone who's unwell.
Yeah.
So,
Sick
for
care.
ours, who's ours? Well, it's kind of everyone well that doesn't want to get unwell.
Yeah.
In a nutshell. So it is really broad, but at the end of the day, science doesn't discriminate. And, I think a lot of these protocols and a lot of the systems in terms of how people feel, it's generally 99% of users are going to feel better after going in. And I think there's a psychological layer, which I'm sure you can talk to a little bit more, just purely taking that time out. I know for me, that's probably, okay, I'll put my hand up now. I've been guilty for not taking the time out. Have not gone and treated myself to some TH7 in a while. And it's funny that I'm sitting here saying that to you, to the boss, and you can,
100%.
You can spray me after, but just in the moments that I've gone and just sat, even just in an infrared sauna, that was my sort of favorite. Probably still is purely just I just stop for 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't take my phone in there. I tried it with a podcast once, I just turned it off.
Yeah.
Just sit there and just deal with your brain and just let yourself slow down and just, actually stop.
Just give yourself time to think by yourself and not having that reaction to grab your phone every time you're sitting there, at a cafe or at the bar or whatever it is, and you just instantly pull out your phone because you're by yourself and you don't want to be.
Yeah, there's stimulus, there's stuff to do. You've got emails to respond to and everything else. 100%. So, I think that's one of the main ones that really comes to mind for me. So, what's something you believed strongly about, if you think back 18 months in terms of recovery, consumers' behavior to recovery, when we sat down last time, or at least when you launched TH7 three years ago, that you see differently now?
Yeah, so I think back then we sort of thought that everyone wanted variety. We wanted, everything and everything. And now I think people want more clarity than ever. There's a lot of misinformation out there. There's new protocols from different people all around the world, and it's our job to try and cut through all that to just give them what they actually need. That's going to give them the best benefit in the shortest period of time. So we have changed a few of the protocols around, or we did, expand them probably a year and a half or 2 years ago, and going, we've got to have everything for everyone. But it's just, this is going to fit 85% of the market, and it's going to give them the best benefit. So let's just stick with that, not try and give everyone 15 different choices, because you give someone 15, they make none. If you give them 3, they make 1. So
that makes a lot of sense. What's sort of the main determining factor, do you think, behind people's decision when, choosing a recovery protocol?
I think, the biggest thing that we're sort of competing with is someone's time, when they can fit it into their routine. And that's what, we've sort of shifted towards a membership-based business so that we can try and fit it into their routine. And the best way to do that is be consistent with it. So whether it is, every Tuesday morning, I know I get up and I go do an express at TH7 before work, or I make it social with my mates and I go to the gym, come to Social Saturday here, and then go to a sauna and an ice bath or a full Nordic at TH7. So we've seen lots of groups and lots of people do that, which is great to see. And that's, probably the biggest sort of takeaway is just put it part of your lifestyle. Lifestyle
and routine. It's a big factor. And I think it's sort of underestimated by teams and corporations, particularly, and even micro teams. It doesn't need to be an entire business of 50 people or whatever it might be, but the marketing team or the legal team or a finance team make time for this stuff, because, most of the time, and we're sitting here and, early December, it's silly season. Everyone's doing lunches and drinking and doing all this sort of stuff, and people are rolling their eyes. They're going, I've got a lunch on Tuesday morning, lunch Wednesday, dinner Wednesday, and it's just exhausting. And so, well, if you're going to celebrate something for your team, we've done it a number of times. Guys, we're just going to go and sit at TH7. We're just going to take some time out and just relax,
go be healthy.
Go and be healthy, because we literally can't afford it. If we have a big dinner and we all have a couple of drinks, like someone's got to wake up at 5:30 Saturday morning, turn up and take class, and 100%. Really stand there and represent. So the last thing you want is a team hungover. And then most of our guys are really conscious of that. They've got training, they've got Ironmans and all sorts of things, high rocks that they're training for, so they don't want to be drinking. And from a cultural perspective in Australia, that's very much the norm. But it's shifting. I find a lot of people are struggling as to, where do I go? I've got a few really close mates that have literally turned to TH7. We do a Sunday here. We train and then we do some conditioning, and it's pretty much a sauna downstairs without the fans on.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
And then they come and do more saunas, so their heart rate gets an absolute smashing. But just from a social, mental wellness perspective, it's really powerful.
100%. And that's what we've sort of noticed as well, like the shift from, I don't want to go out anymore on, and people waking up Saturday mornings and going for a long run and then coming to us and doing a session. And that's what I've started to do with all my mates. Go for a run every Saturday morning, then go do a Nordic. And it's a good time to catch up with your mates without having to have beers.
And late nights. If you zoom out, what are the biggest macro shifts you've noticed in the recovery space and the performance space and even the wellness space since, I guess, we last caught up, or at least since you started?
Yeah, so I think there's been a lot more, brands get on board, lots of gyms, hotels, everyone sort of jumping into the wellness space. And I think it's now seen as a must-have, not just a nice-to-have. And that can be a part of, a corporate setting or a place you live. And it's just something that people turn to go, I want saunas and ice baths and I want this. I want to have access to this where I live or close to where I live. So I think that's been the biggest shift. There's been heaps of people sort of enter the market, whether it is small little recovery and wellness centres or just big brands getting on board and going, we're going to do it and we're going to do it big. So, but I think it's more shifted from just being for the professional athlete to the everyday person. Yeah. So it could be a busy business owner or a busy parent, high stressful job. It's becoming I need to do some of this stuff, or I want to do some of this stuff to perform better at my life. So
and just feel better day to day, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Which sort of brings us to the consideration now of the boutique element of TH7. It's very much the same for us. The amount of times people ask, and like members and people that work here, are you guys going to put ice baths? Are you going to put saunas in? And I'd just say no, like flat chat, no.
Yep.
Why? And I'm like, well, one, walk down the road. Members get a discount, staff gets a discount. So go to TH7. It's 800 meters away. We have that luxury to say. Yeah. But two, it's not our specialty, and I think that's a really important factor for people to understand. Like, I haven't sat and dived into the mechanism and the literature behind recovery protocol because I'm pretty busy looking at movement and science,
exactly,
and mitochondrial sort of behaviors in zone 2 and when it's actually right, and more importantly, dealing with individuals day to day, and the anecdotal and sort of nuance of delivering as best as possible evidence-based training to people. So, in that sense, you say, as you said, it's now become a must-have for a lot of gyms, corporate sort of fit outs, resi buildings, people even putting it in their homes. With so many of these lifestyle type precincts, now adding all these, saunas and ice baths, what makes the sort of purpose built protocols and facility that, you guys have different and worthwhile?
Yeah, so very similar to you guys in terms of we're just recovery and wellness, and that's all we do. That's all we focus on. So we're never going to get into the gym space, because that's when I think then the product and the customer experience gets diluted. For us, like, we've learned a lot over the past 3 years, just in operationally of how to run that business. And it seems simple for a gym to chuck in a $5,000 infrared sauna and a $4,000 ice bath in the corner, but within 4 to 6 weeks, the ice bath doesn't look like water anymore, and the sauna's dirty, and it gets used, but then it's broken or it's operationally out of order or whatever, or it's just no one wants to use it anymore. And that's what we've sort of mastered over the past couple of years of just gone, it's not just stick an ice bath in there and stick a sauna in there. You have to look after it and you have to maintain it. So all the things that we've learnt with the pools and the saunas and all the equipment and the booking system and all that stuff to give people the best experience every single time that they come in. It's taken a lot of work and a lot of trial and error, but I think we're pretty good at the point now that we have 6 and all doing well operational wise. So I think that's the biggest key factor that people think, I'll just chuck this in and add an extra $20 to my membership, but 6 weeks later, it's a lot harder than what it seems. And then also, I think it's the thing that we feel is our difference is our team and our staff, and we've got Frankie, our head of education, that trains everyone that comes. That is a team member of ours, as to what the science is and why we have set up these protocols, just so it's that little education piece for the customer coming in, that they don't just leave with feeling good, they actually leave with a little bit of information as well as to why they feel good.
Yeah. What frustrates you the most about just seeing all this stuff sort of pop up and people going, I'm just going to go there, go do that?
Yeah, so there's heaps of it, and plenty of people sort of popping in saunas and ice baths into big gyms and stuff like that. And I think at a point, like, people will go and do it because it's convenient and it's like the gym that they go to. But after a while, then the number one thing that we focus on is the customer experience. So if we can always keep that at number one, never stacking the saunas too full, never stacking the pools too full, everything's all good until it gets busy at a peak time, and then they can't get in. You can't use it when you want to use it, and just as if someone goes to a open floor gym.
Peak hours are peak hours.
Yeah,
people are free after 5 p.m. kind of thing. Yeah,
exactly. So, and then I think it's also part of the education. So, if someone does go into a big gym and does bits and pieces as whatever's free, they're going to get a response, but not the best response. Whereas if they come to SOF or us and follow a particular protocol, you're going to go through what the right sequence is in the right period of time. So you walk out feeling a lot better than just doing bits and pieces of whatever's free.
Just throwing it all in, blending it and hoping for the best.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay. So then, because I think one of my favourite features is just every time I come in and look at it, which should be more of lately, I know, but is watching, when you're making a booking and there's a specific time assignment to the protocol, you guys have custom built that whole experience.
Yep.
Talk us through that.
Yeah, so when we first started West End, we sort of had an off-the-shelf booking system that we, it was a massive spreadsheet, and we, pulled things around and all that sort of stuff just to try and create these protocols, just because I didn't want to just be, here's your towel, go do whatever you want. I wanted to instill the science in the way without dressing up in lab coats and, preaching it to them, was we can gently instill it with these protocols. And then, so from that, then we engaged with the company to then build it ourselves, just because nothing out there was doing it. We went through, I think it was a couple 100 different booking systems. So we decided to build our own. That took probably close to 15 months. And that allows us to block out a certain number of seats in each piece of equipment to give the person the best experience. So when you book it, it's theirs. It's there for you. It's yours. It's not going to be taken by someone else. The sauna can easily fit, 10 people, but we only book it for 6, just because we don't want to stack people in like sardines. And that sometimes it might mean we're turning away people on the weekends. But I'd rather have the better customer experience where people aren't opening the door and then closing it because it's full, or checking the steam room and then there's too many people in there, or the pools are too busy. It's like just everyone's got their space and they rotate through. If everyone does the right thing, then everyone has a great time, and they get the best response in the shortest period of time. Yeah,
totally. And then, ultimately they're making time back from an efficiency perspective, which is obviously really important. I guess within that sort of nuance, obviously that booking system and, the team, within that experience that consumers, don't often notice this stuff sort of consciously. What are the other elements that you guys have really gone, we're going to take care of that, we're going to take care of that, so that people walk in and they just get this wonderful, and they walk out every time they go, it just hits different. What are some of the big ones that you guys are working on? Yeah, so one of the other ones that we've worked on with our own sort of building team with TH7 Home Labs was the development of the sauna ventilation and or the mechanical ventilation in the sauna. When you're sitting in there with up to 6 people, obviously everyone's breathing out carbon dioxide, get high levels of carbon dioxide above 800 parts per million, and you start feeling a little bit dizzy, a little bit lethargic, a little bit depleted when you get out of the sauna. And now all our saunas have this installed, so it turns the air over once every 10 minutes. So it's completely new. It's still hot.
It maintains 80 degrees and 15% humidity throughout the whole time, and lower than 800 parts per million. So you get out and you don't feel lethargic or dizzy or anything like that. And then obviously like just the quality of the water that we have in all our pools. They're tested every 10 seconds through this automated machine, auto doses them just to make sure that the water quality is perfect. So all these little things behind the scene that we've learned in terms of going, if you just chuck in something that's off the shelf, it's not built for the volume that most recovery and wellness centers do. So we decided that we were going to go and do it ourselves through our other company, TH7 Home Lab. So that's just like these few little things that we can add in to make the experience better that people don't notice until you come in and experience it for yourself. You can feel the difference.
Or inversely, go somewhere that hasn't, dealt with these small factors and go,
like a traditional sort of hotel sauna where you hop in and you breathe in and it stings your nostrils. Yeah. Whereas in ours, even when the water's put on, because it circulates the air, so it's just like a nice warm hug, and you can feel it in your toes at the same sort of temperature as your head, just so it's not just smacking you in the face. Just because the air is blended and the hot air
is always at the highest.
Exactly.
It's a bit cooler down below.
Yeah,
really interesting. I mean, it all stacks up, right? It's all these little things, and it adds, I guess, really important layers to people actually, getting what they intend out of spending this time.
Yep.
Which is really important. Talk to me a little bit more about TH7 Home Labs. So, explain that, I guess, in a nutshell. What does that involve?
Yeah, so that sort of came off the back of building West End and a few of the sort of issues that we had there with the chillers and the saunas and all those things. And we met, so me and Greg, my business partner, met a few guys, Danny, Matt and Adam, through reaching out to other companies to come and help us, because we had a company to run, we had a business to run, and when things don't work, other companies that we'd bought from just wouldn't come as quick as possible, and all these boys did. And then we sort of got talking and developed another business to build them in high-end sort of residential homes, just because heaps of people were asking us, like, where do you get this from? Where do you get this from? And it was silly not for us to do it ourselves, just because we were building multiple clinics and we wanted to be better and innovate a little bit, not just build the exact same thing that's out there on the market. We want to be better, and better for us as a business as well. So if it can be automated, or it can be, add in these extra little features that people aren't thinking about, then it's going to make us a better brand and a better customer experience as well.
Totally. Okay, so anyone that's doing a decent resi project, ditch the wine room and consider a sauna and an ice bath and a recovery protocol.
So that's exactly what Greg, my business partner, did his home. As opposed to putting a movie theatre in or a wine cellar, he's put a traditional sauna, steam room, and an ice shower. So it's
how good.
And it's becoming more and more with these high end homes. People are looking towards adding this wellness piece into their home, and it not only gives them longevity benefits if they can do it 4 to 7 times a week if they wanted to, because it's so easy, but it also gives a massive value to the home as well. So it's just adding extra value, just as if a pool does. Adding this now, I'd definitely buy a place if it had a sauna and ice, or go and stay somewhere else with it had a sauna and ice bath attached to it.
I mean, it's funny, we've never been here as a species where, I mean, we see it a lot. People in their early 60s, late 50s, right up to their mid 70s and 80s, they're no longer old. Like, they're considered elderly, but they're active. They're traveling. They are picking up grandkids. They are still working, and they're kind of going, like, I don't want to be treated like an old person. So I'm staying young. I'm staying healthy, so I feel good. I'm training. And, we now know things like alcohol and all these lifestyle factors contribute to what that last 10, 20, 30 years of your life can look like.
Yep.
And so obviously, having it, if you have the capabilities of, putting it in your home, it makes a ton of sense. And if not, you just drive down to your local clinic.
Yeah.
Even better.
For those that can't put it in the house, then that's why we're trying to serve every community as we can with the TH7 clinic.
That makes a ton of sense. Let's sort of roll into the, I guess, the business side of things. First and foremost, strategically in terms of what you're looking at with opening these clinics and selecting sites, I think talk us through, I guess, first of all, how you've mapped out these first few and what you've opened in the last 18 months, 4 clinics in the last 18 months.
Yep. Yeah, so now we have West End, which is our first one. Then we opened Noosa, then Urungpilly, Maracavat, Newstead and Cleveland. At the start, when we first sort of opened West End and Noosa, the other sites were sort of very opportunistic. It just, came up. We've got this site, we've got this location, and we think you guys will be a great fit there. And we sort of jumped at everything and just said, "Yep, sounds good. We'll make it work." And we have, and we've squeezed in what we wanted into certain sort of spaces as well, which has been great. But now it's more of a strategic approach in terms of where do we go next. The Gold Coast being a big sort of priority for us. I know you boys are down there as well, and obviously Sydney and Melbourne, like there's untapped markets down there, or there's competitors, but in terms of what they're doing at the scale of what we sort of want to do, like it's a big sort of priority for us to get down there as quick as possible.
That makes a ton of sense. I suppose what is being on the front line of sort of consumer interaction taught you guys about real world wellness habits versus, I guess, the trends that, we'd expect to see. People listen to a decent podcast with a Tier or Huberman or these longevity guys, and we have this sort of idea of what this looks like in the real world. I sit here and listen to exercise experts on podcasts that have massive followings say these things, and people come in and ask me about it. And I'm like, don't worry. Just don't worry about that one thing. It may or may not apply to you.
Yep.
But you're on the coal face. You're dealing with the individual, as opposed to, yes, the evidence says and people's ideas say.
Yep.
So, in the recovery space, what are you guys seeing that, the real world consumers using and needs to worry about?
Yeah, so in obviously off the back of the last podcast where I said, the 4 to 7 times a week does this, and this, that was the belief that we had in terms of we need to offer it to everyone to be able to do that for these benefits. And the reality is as I said before, we're always competing with time. And if, people can't make it in, they think they can't get the benefit where they can. And that's what we're trying to teach people is just you can come in and get the minimum effective dose in the shortest period of time. And if you do the sequence right, you're going to walk out and you feel better, and it can stack onto your life as well. It's not just, you can perform better in the gym, but perform better with your kids at home and at work as well. So it's just, those little things that add up.
Let's talk about that stacking, I guess, element you mentioned. For me, it's a big part of these type of protocols. Like if I were to unpack, what does that stacking mean? So you go in, you spend the time, you do the recovery protocol, you come out feeling better. What does that wash up look like in terms of other lifestyle factors that are going to be affected by it?
Biggest one that if people were to change one thing is their sleep. So if you're not sleeping right, pretty much nothing else really. That you can train as hard as you can recover as hard as you can, but if you're still sleeping real poorly, then you're missing a big piece. So the things that we can help with, which I've sort of found definitely with tracking it through Aura, and even just some of the members and the other customers coming in, has gone, I slept first time for 8 hours last night, or I did this and I did a sauna before bed and this benefited me, and there's science behind that, and it's just the stack of evidence of, it's not necessarily a study, but it's people coming in and going, I did this and it's impacted my sleep in this way, and I feel better, and I can then wake up better in the morning and go to work and perform better, and then everything just stacks on itself. So
yeah, it's really interesting because, as you said, in terms of the actual literature, controlling that, creating a really good study to say, if you did this protocol, it's going to improve your sleep.
Yep.
It's very hard to do scientifically, like
100%.
as opposed to, pharmacological interventions where you can put 4 pills down and you have, control groups and trial groups and, the placebo controlled and the double blind placebo. And you're either in the sauna or you're out the sauna and whether you are or you're not.
Yeah, 100%.
So, I guess in terms of stacking that evidence and understanding that, it's a little bit harder to do, more so from a mechanistic perspective. What are kind of the major factors that play into why you think people feel better when they do it? And more importantly, you're saying sleep.
Yep.
What do you think contributes to that?
So for the sleep piece, like if you increase your core body close to bed, so jump in a sauna or a hot shower or a hot bath, then when you hop out, you get this massive thermal dump. So your core body actually drops after it.
So core body temperature goes up in the sauna.
Goes up in the sauna and then down. Once you get out, it's sort of overcompensated. And it's that massive sort of, so you can have a cool shower or whatever after just to stop yourself sweating. But it's that overcompensated response that drops your core body temp.
Do you know how long that lasts?
No, I'm not sure.
Depends on the individual kind of thing.
Yeah, it sort of depends. Sometimes like if I don't have a long enough sort of cold shower, hop out and I'm still sort of sweating a bit. But as you hop out and you're, in the normal sort of air or jump into aircon or whatever, you cool down pretty quickly. And it's that drop in that core body that to get a nice deep sleep, your core body needs to drop 1 or 2 degrees. So if you can do that before bed, just notice the difference between, hot shower at night, and then for me, it's cold shower or it's cold ice bath in the morning, because it's the opposite. So you drop your core body, overcompensated response, you're much hotter after it, but you also get the big hit of dopamine and serotonin, so you feel alert, and norepinephrine as well. So you're awake and alert and ready for the day. So that's why I do ice in the morning and saunas at night. And
then warm at night. Okay, makes a ton of sense. I mean, it's pretty logical.
Yep.
And it's super funny. I think the other one for me is, as I said before, just psychologically just timing out a little bit. It sort of slows you down, and consciously
you're not on your phone.
You're not on your phone. You're not stimulated, and so you just tend to down-regulate. Just calm down a little bit, and you sort of I always remember it. And we used to do a couple on Saturdays, and get to Saturday afternoon, like 4 p.m, and I'm wrecked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? And I'm like, I've probably taken myself up and down, core body temperature settle down, and I've actually unwound for a moment. We get a sort of similar response, and it's quite funny. I draw this relationship often. We run a breathing class here, and people come out of breathing class and they're just like floating, and they're just zombies. They could go home and fall asleep that moment. Often they don't want to drive home because they sort of feel so groggy. Yeah. But a lot of their attention's turned to their breath. I think about when people jump in an ice bath. What are you guys cueing?
Yeah.
Very much the same
Focus
thing.
on your breath. When you're in there, you can't think about what you're doing later for dinner, or what your business is doing, or what your friend said to you before, or whatever. You're thinking about exactly that moment and trying to focus on your breath to try and calm yourself down.
So it's really grounding.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, bring yourself into, just thinking about what you're doing in that moment. It's also like the, why you feel tired as well, which some people don't understand, but putting yourself under stress, which is saunas and ice baths, it is stress. It's, we try and control it as much as possible and try and teach people to be able to control those stressful situations, but it is taxing on the body as well. So it is important to, put it into your training program as well. So the biggest thing that we're trying to teach people is not more is better. Mm-hmm. It is trying to go, this is what is best for you at this time, not just, 2 saunas a day, 2 ice baths a day, 2 red lights a day. It's too much of a good thing, can be a bad thing, particularly because it is taxing as well. And like anyone can experience it. You hop in the sauna for 20 minutes. At minute 16, you're watching the clock and it's counting down very, very slowly. Because you want to get out as fast as possible. But that's where all the benefits sort of kick in. And that's what most people don't see in those bigger sort of gyms where they do offer saunas and ice baths and stuff like that. And like when we were setting up West End, we did go around and test them all, and people would hop in and they're in there for 5-6 minutes or 10 minutes and then hop out because it's hard. And that's what we're trying to teach people. Like, it does get hard, but here's what you can get if you go through that little bit of
discomfort,
a little bit of discomfort.
As you said, it's stress inducing, but so is exercise, and there's these mechanisms, and we're in this luxurious position as a species where everything else is comfortable, everything else is easy. And so, anything of substance that ultimately this is deep philosophical sort of tangent that I tend to go on, is you've got to do something quite hard, but not suffering for the sake of it. I sort of think there's a line, and there's a couple of heroes out there on the internet that go, come on, you got to do more every single time, and more is more. You're just probably going to end up breaking at the end of the day. Most people listen to this are normal people, and so, just understanding your realm of it, and then more importantly, controlling it and leaning on the professionals to be able to go, that's the point, no further.
You're
not going to get any more
have to
benefit.
do it. You're just pushing yourself more into wasting your time, one, but also levels of dehydration or after drop hypothermia. If you're trying to push it and do these ice bath challenges and all that sort of stuff, you're just going into more danger. That is just not beneficial for you at all. So
absolutely. What are the most interesting sort of behavioural patterns you're seeing across these thousands of sessions that customers are doing? What works? What's worked the whole time? Let's start with that one.
The best one for us has been the Nordic. So that's our most popular protocol.
Let's unpack that. What does that involve?
So that's 20 minutes in the sauna. Then it's alternating between the hot and the cold pool for 10 minutes. We've got a particular sort of timing sequence in there as well, but depending on the individual, if they're brand new, we're not going to say, I'll jump in there for 3 minutes. It's going to be a minute to start, alternating with the hot just to make it a little bit easier for them. Then it's switching off and in the steam room for another 20 minutes, and then back to the cold pool if you're kicking off your day, or if you're want a little reset for the middle of the day. 2 to 5 minutes in the cold pool, and then have a shower, get changed, go back to your life.
On you go.
Yeah, cool. So that normally takes around 55 minutes. It's been our most popular from the very start, just because it gives a good taste of everything that we have. It is starting to get copied from other people, the exact same name and all that sort of stuff, which is funny to see. But
it's a compliment, mate.
Take it as a
compliment.
That's what everyone
We've had it
says.
happen too.
So
really interesting. What's fallen flat, if you will?
So we thought, and what I was sort of saying before in terms of like trying to offer a protocol for everything, trying to stack bits and pieces together. We had one that was red light and compression boots, and it just didn't really do too well.
So they do a red light
and
exposure
compression
at the same time?
No, just so two separate. So our red light is a full 360 bed, so it covers the whole body, and then compression as well. And I think at the start we were just like pulling out pieces to give people something easy to follow if they wanted to do that. Whereas now it's just more, this is what we believe that is best for the customer, and it's not just combining things for the sake of combining them. Not going more variety, we're going less, and we're simplifying everything to go, this is what we want to do.
Float tanks?
Yeah, we scrapped the float tanks as well. So very quickly we had them at West End for probably 9 months, and just they didn't sell too badly. It was just the admin and the process and the operations wise of why we got sort of rid of them. You can imagine 500 kilos of magnesium salt, trying to clean that off the floors and in the showers and all that sort of stuff. It was just like a lot of admin heavy sort of things, and we were happy to leave them to other sort of competitors. And it didn't fit into our DNA of, get in, get out as
be productive,
as possible.
Respecting your time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Interesting.
Cryo as well. Yeah. So we still got cryo at West End, and that does well for us, and a lot of the professionals use it because it is just 3 minutes. 3 minutes, you're in and out. Okay. Works differently to the ice bath, but it was sort of that thing that if we're going to roll them out to everywhere, it's heavy on the power requirements. CapEx very heavy as well, and for what it is, it's a good machine, but just we just decided not to continue with it anymore.
It's really interesting. You sort of think about some of these pieces of equipment, cryo, H-Bot's probably another one, where they're probably pretty expensive to install, and from a business perspective, just, yes, there's a revenue element that you got to make sure it's generating and it can get through enough volume. But I guess more importantly for the consumer, because that's going to determine the revenue.
Yep.
Can they use it efficiently enough that it makes sense to fit into their routine?
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
How does hyperbaric oxygen therapy go?
Yeah, really well.
And so that's something you put in on each one?
We've got them in each clinic. West End has 3 or used to have 3. Now got 2, and then we've got 3 at Noosa, and all the others have 1 or 2. So it does really well, and mainly because people, you can take time out and just fall asleep if you want to, but you can also take your laptop in or your phone, and you can
still be productive.
Still be productive with the especially with the extra oxygen that's gone to your brain. It's sort of like hyper focuses you. That's what I do every time that I need to be not so distracted and no one bugging me or anything like that. You can lock yourself in there and just get a good hour of work done. So I think that's why it's pretty popular as well. It's been massive for people with injuries and getting back on the field faster, whether they're professional or they've just had surgery, and how we can help them recover faster to get back to what they do love, or what they love doing most. So
totally. What's emerging? What's sort of really come into the scene in the last couple of months or years for you guys?
We've always had sort of red light in our clinics, but I think it's just the combination of the red light and HBOT that is, again, anecdotally, and we're sort of exploring the possibilities of getting a proper research sort of done. But we had Lockie Neal come in, and he did 2 hyperbarics a day and a red light in the lead up to the Brizzy Lions grand final.
Because he was calf strain, wasn't he?
Yeah, calf. Yeah, given 1% chance, and he ended up playing half a game and had a great game and all that sort of stuff. Not saying that we did that. He obviously has his team of physios and doctors and all that sort of stuff. But it was just those little percents of what did that do. Doing 90 minutes in the morning, 90 minutes at night, and same thing with Tate McDermott. Did his hammy real bad and just wanted to walk at his wedding, and he did the exact same protocol. And so it's just those little stories that can add up, and that's what we're sort of exploring. Like, combine this and this, we'll do this before, do this after, and how quickly can we get back to
on the field?
Yeah,
it's really funny. I mean, we try and encourage as many people as possible, as many people willing to have the same attitude about their own body. Okay, we don't probably have the time pressures when someone, maybe that works in a development firm or in an office that suffers from back pain, and they're not rushed back onto the field because we've got a GF to play and that's it. But more importantly, I think at the end of the day, the speed of recovery is really important, particularly when there's an injury. A physical one, which most people suffer at least something in their life. It's almost what motivated you to start this, if you want to go back to the first episode and listen to Tom's story. But taking it seriously, I think for a long time, everybody's been not told, but inadvertently just brushed aside taking care of their body, particularly when it's broken down on them. And gone, well, that's what the elite athletes would do. I don't need that. I'm not elite. But if you can have an attitude of, this all contributes to my life. And, time ultimately is finite, and it sort of comes and goes really quickly, and you won't ever have this moment that you're living in again. You won't ever have this sort of 6-month-old at your fingertips that you come home to every night. So if you're coming home and you've got pain, if you're coming home and you're exhausted, you're not getting good sleep, it's going to be challenging enough as it is. So when you do get your sleep, you want it to be effective. All these things are really important components that you need to think about. And so doing your exercise is really important. Eating and being really conscious about what you're putting in your body is really important. And then taking some time out just to let yourself recover is really important. And it co-contributes to your motivation to do better exercise, to eat better food, to ultimately sleep better. And so it sort of snowballs in a positive direction.
100%.
It's something sort of, we're speaking to people a lot. And as you said at the start, you jump in the ice bath, you really are forced to be mindful. You really are forced to be present in that moment. But that's a skill in itself, and there's a neural component in terms of being exposed to those type of behaviours deliberately. means when you do need to stop in a conversation with someone, you can be really present.
Yep.
And able to engage in those things.
For sure. And it also makes like if you can control yourself in those stressful situations, whether it is saunas or ice baths or exercise, as you said before, in terms of doing hard things, it makes all the other things seem less stressful. So when someone cuts you off in traffic or someone says something, you can just, not necessarily just brush it off, but it doesn't affect you as much. And I think that's what, doing these little hard things or being able to control yourself in that can teach people as well.
Absolutely. So let's go into what consumers, I guess, don't really understand about recovery yet. What do you wish more people understood about it? What's the thing that would really change their results? They're trying it. They're going to a couple of, bathhouses and doing some sauna and whatever, but they shrugged it off. They're not making time for it.
Yeah, I think pretty much sort of what we were talking about before. It's not just a luxury; it's a multiplier. And if you are doing it right and you are consistent with it, it can have a massive impact on everything else in your life. And whether that is, sleep, performance, gym, home life, your mood, your stress levels. If you are consistent, you are doing it right, it can impact. And as you said, it just keeps on snowballing as well. Then you start performing better in the gym and you start looking after your diet and you start sleeping better and you get a promotion at work and everything. And then, you're happy every time that you go home to your family, and just like all these things sort of compound. And I'm not saying it just starts with just doing saunas and ice baths. It starts with, doing everything right. And then just adding these little bits and pieces in there. So it can just make your life better.
Let's stay on that consistency point. What does it need to look like at a bare minimum, and then in an ideal world?
Yeah. So when we first started, as I said before, 4 to 7 times a week, it's difficult, even for me as one of the owners, to keep up with it. And our head office is just literally 50 meters away from our clinic. So but life
you got
gets
less
in the way.
excuses than me.
Yeah, exactly. I still go in, I rotate through.
I got
every night.
750 meters to catch up.
Yeah. But it is trying to make it part of your lifestyle. So whether it is every Tuesday I do this. And every Saturday I make it social. I think the biggest aspect that if someone was just to do it once a week, it would be make it social. So either go with friends or go for a run, do a gym session, go do a sauna and ice bath, or go do a Nordic, and then grab brekkie after. And there's been plenty of groups that come in. There's a sauna mums group every Wednesday night at each of the clinics. So they just catch up and talk about it, and they can be completely random people, but they talk about their problems or what they're experiencing, and
just life.
Yeah, we've had plenty of blokes come in as well and just share stories and get a bit uncomfortable in the sauna and ice bath together, but that sort of just breaks down on the walls and you start talking about things that you wouldn't necessarily talk about with your mates. And I think that piece for me, in terms of make it a routine every week, if you're just going to come once, that's the one.
That's
make
the
it
big one.
social. Yep.
It's funny. Last episode we had Tom Harvey. He's a performance psychologist, and he said a really interesting line. He said we place way too much emphasis on our romantic partner and way too little emphasis on our friends.
Yep.
And I think about exercise as a mechanism for that. It's what I encourage a lot of people to do.
Yep.
And then second to that, it's literally the backbone of how we built our business is group fitness.
Yeah,
is people get to come and hang out with their mates and do something outside of an unhealthy behavior, which tends to be eating too much and drinking too much.
Exactly.
And here we are. This is kind of the world we're looking at right now. And Australia, I believe, is at the forefront. The rest of the world sort of almost looking at us in awe or envy or laughing at us. Who cares? But they're going, people are running at these run clubs, and everyone down the Gold Coast. I speak to Joey, and he's like, mate, it's dead at 9:30, but at 5:30 at the front of his house in Tugan, it's packed. There's just people out and moving their body everywhere. So there's something to that, and I guess above the exercise thing, sitting in a sauna, you actually do get to have that chat, check in with your mates, and you know, people are walking around. I mean, just come out of November, everyone's like, you know, are you okay? And check in with your mates. Well, it's easy to say, it's harder to do if you're not creating the environments or the situations with your friends. And I guess this epitomizes it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, definitely a lot. It's definitely a lot healthier than going out and grabbing a beer with someone. Because if you are sort of looking after your mental health and you want to sleep right and all that sort of stuff, drinking alcohol is not the best thing to do before bed. So
and I mean we've built an entire industry on that. You know, that's what hospitality really is. And it's not to say that will fall over, but it is to say that this is coming, and this is the alternative that people are starting to, you know, take up, and they want to do that more as opposed to going out. Well, that's me, and that's, you know, my circle. Yeah, absolutely. So, righto, mate. Well, I guess if you could give the general public one principle that would make their recovery twice as effective, starting tomorrow, starting the Savo. Sorry to put you in a sort of hole of just one. What would that one principle be?
Well, I think I've probably hammered home on it a bit too much, but it's consistency. So it's just be consistent, whether that's just starting with once a week or twice a week. Just be consistent with it. Obviously, all the other sort of lifestyle factors, sleep, exercise, nutrition plays massive roles in it as well. So it's tick all those boxes, and then make, you know, recovery and wellness part of that routine as well. It's not just a nice to have anymore. It should be part of a lifestyle. Make it a pillar. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Love it. Well, mate, you guys are, you know, at the forefront of it. It's really exciting. I think globally, you guys are probably, you know, there's all these nice ones, and you see these brands overseas and everything else. But I think in terms of actually applying a protocol and learning the reality of it and looking at the science and going, well, sure, there's that, but here's realistically what works and what consumers need and what consumers want. And it goes a long way. So, I'm really excited to see where TH7 goes next. Hopefully it's the Gold Coast. Because I know those guys are banging on about it down there, particularly our Burleigh guys. So, mate, we'll keep our eyes and ears open, and mate, just keep up the good work at TH7, you and all the team. No, thank you, and thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it, mate. All good. Thank you for your time. Cheers. Thanks for tuning in to the Science of Fitness podcast. Be sure to check us out across all forms of social media and subscribe to this channel if you want to stay up to date to the latest episodes and any other anecdotes with which we might share across these video platforms. If you ever find yourself locally in Brisbane, be sure to drop into one of our facilities or down on the Gold Coast in Burleigh. You can also check us out at scienceoffitness.com.au and see all things relating to what we offer in programming and performance, whether it's online or in person.